drink, can't drug, can't drown them away. Can't sleep, can't think, can't find an escape from these dark, dark thoughts in my mind. Can't drink, can't drug, can't drown them away. Can't sleep, can't think, can't find an escape from these dark, dark thoughts in my mind.
We've now got Lee on the line from The Funeral Portrait. Now, I chatted to you last year, and I was just looking up. Oh, it must have been around about August time last year. And when I looked up at it, in fact, it's almost a year to the date. I think beginning of March, we must have talked last year about all things Funeral Portrait. So I thought, well, obviously, it's time to catch up again, especially on the back of I've seen Dark Thoughts has been pushed out as a single, I think, again here. Before we get into all that, for those people not familiar with The Funeral Portrait, summarize your life for us.
Oh God, that's hard. See, I love that because I've had a very long life for not being, quote, let's say that old. Let's put it that way. So the band especially has. So long story short, we started this band in 2014. So we are in year number 10 of this band, but a lot of those years were as a small regional band. We did do a lot of touring early on, but that was just kind of the way of the land back in, 2014 to 2018. You just toured. That's just kind of what you did, is just went on tour and hoped for the best, and so we did do a lot of that, but and then it kind of turned into releasing some songs, and releasing an EP, then a record. And those is what I call TFP 1.0. So the Funeral Portrait 1.0. And then around early 2019, we decided to kind of change the sound, the vibe, just kind of do something that we really wanted to do, especially because we had some member changes throughout the years and stuff. And it was just like, let's just revamp the Funeral Portrait. So that 2019 started TFP 2.0. And that was kind of when we got kind of lucky and we had a song do really well. And that was called Holy Water. And that song then turned into us signing a deal with Better Noise Music. And that was sick. And then, of course, we all know what happens in 2020. The whole world shuts down and music, especially newly signed bands, get put on just hold on for a moment kind of situation, which is kind of what happened, is that we kind of got the, hey, so like, keep writing and recording your record, but we're not going to put out any new music because we're all trying to we're just trying to figure out what's going on. So that leads us to 2022, I think it was. So the end of 2022, the end of 2023. 2023, we released a song called Voodoo Doll.
Needle speaks, taking you from me. I can hear you fall, feel you hit the wall. So when you're pushing pins underneath your skin, I can feel it all. Yeah, I can feel it. When the needle speaks, taking you from me, I can hear you fall, feel you hit the wall. So when you're pushing pins underneath your skin, I can feel it all. You are my voodoo doll.
And that started doing pretty well, especially for the size of band that we were at the time. And, I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We created this whole lore and all this stuff. That's what it was. Because then 23, we released Alien. Then we released Generation Psycho. Then we released Dark Thoughts, as well as two covers of one of Radiohead's Creep and one of Tears for Fears, Mad World, which both of those were just kind of fun things to do to kind of pass the time before we could release songs. But you mentioned Dark Thoughts, and that's the big moment. That's the big, oh, this is the song. And it's funny because we didn't even think that was gonna be the song. We all thought it was gonna be Generation Psycho that came out a few months beforehand. That it didn't flop, but it was just like, oh, that's kind of not the hit people are loving. Like, people are loving Dark Thoughts way more, and we're like, okay, like, let's just run with it.
There's a heavy on this mind. There's a weight behind these eyes. What if I can't stop the rising tide? Above the undertow, do you see me down below? A sinking soul, wondering how much deeper I can go. Can't drink, can't drug, can't drown them away. Can't sleep, can't think, can't find an escape from these dark thoughts in my mind. Oh, my head is a prison. No one ever visits. It's just you and me till the end. Waiting on my sentence. If I find an exit, will you still follow me?
Why, I suppose, a delay in an album coming out, and why the decision to go down the EP route?
So there's like a few things there. One, I think a lot of it has to do with, and this isn't fully on the label. I mean, it kind of is, but I understand what they're doing. So long story short, when we signed, the whole deal was that we would have a big tour when we could release the record, right? And that's just how Better Noise loves to work, and it works. A lot of their bands have a lot of success, and it works for them. We just are having the hardest of times finding that, quote, big tour, or big conversion point, or whatever it is to release a record. Now, I will say a lot of stuff changed around the time that I talked to you, as in our team, new managers, some new other people that joined the team and stuff like that. And I think for us, it kind of took us, we needed to kind of step back and see what we were doing and see what we could change. And, you know, the label allowed us to release a few more singles. And I really took to like TikTok and Instagram and really just started grinding it, just go, you know, as the hardest I could. And it worked, kind of. It was one of those moments that we were gaining momentum and gaining this speed. And the label was like, well, let's just do something fun for like the Halloween season and stuff. So let's release this From Beyond the Abyss EP, you know, and technically it kind of started this fun thing for us. Now, you know, we're planning on making at least one or two more of those where it's like an alternative version and maybe a cover or two, or maybe two alternative versions of songs from the record and stuff. And I think for us, it gives our diehard fans something extra, you know, some more lore and some more fun music to kind of listen to while we kind of sit on some more important songs. Now, I will say we do have a lot of music coming out this year, and I know for a fact the record is coming out this year. I can't tell you a date, but I do know the date though, so which is sick. That's something that I've never been able to say before. So for us, we just want to do something fun, you know, something cool and different that a lot of bands also don't do.
Waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Made you feel the way that every child should. Sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous.
Creep and Mad World. I mean, how did they go down, I guess, with your fan base? Because I can see that they are very, for a band that champions disaffected, the underdog, the people who don't quite fit in. I mean, both Creep and Mad World, have that sort of slightly, have that vibe to it. So I thought when you picked them, they fitted in very nicely with your.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because for us, like with Creep, I'm going to be honest, Creep wasn't our idea. It was the label's idea because they were just like, hey, could you just do a cover song? And I was like, oh, well, I'm thinking of this song. And then they were like, well, what about this one? And I was like, you know what? We'll do it. Sure. It was one of those like, you know what? We'll do that. And it turned out great. We had a great time doing it, and we did a lot of like content around it for social media, and it started picking up and it was doing well. For us, both of our covers haven't, quote, taken off like the original music, which I'm not like not happy about that or sad about that or whatever. I'm kind of indifferent, right? Because for us, it has brought in some new fans that have then checked out the new music and have enjoyed that stuff. But for me, I am I don't want to say I'm kind of happy that we're not known as like the cover band thing, but I don't care. Like, I don't like if Mad World randomly just blows up or Creep randomly blows up and it goes to radio and it becomes a #1 hit and all these like crazy things. And then we're the next like Alien Ant Farm or something, that's fine with me. They have a very successful career and I know that they still tour, like 20 odd years later, I'm sure, from that release, or 15 years later after that release, and it's like, for me, like, I don't care about that. But I think it was also one of these things we were kind of in the middle of like, what can we do to get more eyes and ears on this project? And covers are kind of just an easy, fun way to do it.
When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You flow like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so special, but I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if
So Dark Thoughts, I think, is the song that's coming out again. I think it came out towards the end of last year over here originally, but I guess we're pushing it again through there. And I know that the if you watch the videos, there is a continuing sort of storyline, a story arc in there. And you mentioned just before we came on air about set to recording another video. Now, is this continuing? Does the story arc continue through? I guess throughout the album, I suppose, all the releases you're going to come from.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So when we started when we started working on the music, there was no concept. We were like, we're just writing some songs that feel great to us and mean something to us, and we're something that we're very passionate about, And I remember I'm literally sitting in my studio here, and we were kind of just trying to be like, what can we do to kind of set this record apart from not just our past records, but from like other bands and stuff like that. And of course, there's like Sleep Token and Bad Omens and all those bands that are crushing it, that have this quote lore to them and this whole vibe. And for me, I was like, well, that's something that I grew up loving is lore and vibes and just, you watching a music video and then going to watch the next one and the next one, because it's like this massive story, And so for us, we started just brainstorming of what we could come up with, and we kind of came up with, of course, not the easiest, but the thing that was kind of right in front of us is the cult that we are, this Coffin Crew cult of misfits and weirdos and just people that don't fit in. It doesn't matter if you're scene or emo or hardcore or whatever the hell you want to call yourself or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care, as long as you're different than everybody else. That's all that matters, and because everybody that's different needs a place to fit in. And that was what we wanted to create. And that's this like overall message of this, what we call Suffocate City. It's a It's a place that the Coffin Crew lives and enjoys to be themselves. And so when we first started with Voodoo Doll, I was this quote preacher of the Coffin Crew, and I'm recruiting members. And we have these icons. Each one of these icons for Voodoo Doll, it's this angel. And for Alien, it's the kind of alien, but it's just like a person in a suit with like the crown of thorns on their head. And then for Generation Psycho, we have what we call the Night Terror, and he's this winged creature, like vampire creature, tall dude. He's like taller than me, and I'm 6'4", so it's like a whole thing. And then for Dark Thoughts, we have what we call the guide. It is the person that grants you entrance into Suffocate City, and the person to show you the way, kind of. And that was the idea of Dark Thoughts, is each one of these icons represent not just the song, but kind of a little piece of me and this band, of like what we stand for and what we're trying to do. And there's a few more songs coming out before the record, and each one of them will have their own icons as well that help tell the story. And like I said, I think Dark Thoughts was that song that we wrote, and of course it has a really strong meaning, but I don't think any of us knew it was going to do what it has been doing. And I'm super happy about that, because I think the label's very excited with it, and I know that we are too, and it kind of showed people that we mean business, which is nice. So for me, I was like, okay, we could do this. This is real. Like, this is something this band actually, like, I don't want to say it's working, because we still have a long way to go, but like, and will always be that way. But like, I don't know, it felt good to like be like, oh, this is pretty cool. People enjoy this song. I enjoy this song. That's pretty cool.
Looking at the lyrics for like Dark Thoughts and some of the other tracks, and so this was you growing up, somebody who didn't fit in, who doesn't feel like they belonged and felt on the outskirts and outside of things.
Yeah, nowadays I feel that way. It's hard because we're kind of a little different as a band. We're not like, what's really popular right now is, of course, your hot boy band like Bad Omen, Sleep Token. I already mentioned them. Those bands that like are just like hot dudes in a band, right? And like they make really heavy music, but also it's very passionate and it is very like real. We don't really fit down a mold either, and that's kind of a thing, is we're not like metalcore, right? We're not alternative, we're not pop punk, and we're not straight just like active rock, right? And like, because those are kind of like the subgenres of what's popular in rock music right now, right? And like, and of course you could go to like metal and metalcore, and there's like 70 other ones, and baddie core and stuff like that. That's the Bad Omens, the Spirit Box, that stuff, which I love. And that's the thing is, but we're not. I know that we're not. Even newer songs that we've rewritten for the record and stuff, like past when we started writing this record, like we are the band that we are, and so sometimes I feel like we don't fit in. We're always like the odd man out of shows or tours and stuff, which is like, I guess is good. I don't know. Growing up, the bands that I listened to were always those bands anyways. I was very lucky enough to go to Warped Tour, a good few years, aka probably 10 years of my life. And I always enjoyed the bands that stood out, that were different. I would always make sure I went out to go see those bands, and that goes to same with the festivals, and now that we're lucky enough to play some of those, I think it will kind of come in handy to be a little different, to kind of stand out. And not just because I have bright green hair, but maybe the music will stand out too.
Are you listening to the static inside of you? Or am I just out of tune? They say to bring myself down, but they really don't want me to. They'd rather me be like you. Cause I'm outside, always looking in this world I just can't fit in. I'm an alien. Where do I belong? I'm lost in oblivion. So tired, barely hanging on. I'm an alien. Where do I belong? Where do I belong? This is not my home. Where do I belong? 'Cause I feel like an alien.
Again, we've been around for so long, and there's two versions of this band that I think some people maybe just write us off as like, oh, that band's just been around forever, who cares, etc. Right? But then we also have a lot of really diehard fans, and a lot that we've gained a lot of momentum over the past year, probably even since talking to you. It's so much has changed for us in over a year of us just discovering who we really are through social media and playing some shows and doing some tours. I think it was that moment of just being like, it's now or never, and I think that's what we're thinking about with these music videos as well. And, we've got some features on the record from some pretty cool names in the business. Let's just use that word. So we're excited. We're very excited.
Waiting for the end of days to come. Dancing on the graves of the love you lost. And still have been killed by vertebrae. The secret is safe with me. 'Cause I know everyone inside go crazy, deadly. They're out to get me. I know everyone inside goes lined up and wait. Recover, they'll take us away.
And so you mentioned the album release was originally around a big tour. Have you managed to get that big tour? And more importantly, will we get to see you over in the UK at any stage?
Every single day or every single time I post, like, where should we go on tour? Or where do you want to see us? So many of them are the UK. I mean, so many. I mean, it's insane. And to the fact that, like, we tried to set up what we did for a while, had like a worldwide like merch store that I was running myself. I just ran into some quote issues, let's put it that way. I was doing so many orders a week just in European sales, and just the UK and stuff. And it's something that it's a main focus for us, but I think right this second we need to kind of not just conquer the States, but we need to, the big tour, let's put it that way, needs to be in the States. And the reason why is because our label is still very, very focused on the States for now. But we are trying extremely hard to get over there before the end of the year, even if it's just like a short 1 week run or 2 week run, just something very, even just a few shows, a handful of shows. So that way, maybe then next year we can be on some of the festivals and do something a lot larger and a lot bigger. So that's the idea, is next year to go really after some of the bigger festivals like Download and, all of those fun ones. So